Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Imagine this. It's July 10th, 2017. You arrive to a parking lot. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. There's a building there. You walk into the building. It's Tesla. It's the new company you just joined. You're super excited. You're so freaking excited. You walk in through the doors and your boss greets you. His name's Greg. Hey Farzad, how you doing? Hey, welcome to the team. Very excited to have you in. Let's walk you to your desk. There's a bunch of desks in the office area. They're all empty. Every single one of them. We walk out to the warehouse instead. We go through the double doors. Put on a safety vest. He puts on a safety vest. And you see all these forklifts whizzing around. All these tuggers just moving all over the place. People on them working hard, sweating, working like crazy. It's hot, it's humid, it's sticky. July in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania is not the greatest place to be completely honest. Pretty humid out there. Try to keep it cool with all the fans going, with as much AC as possible. Still freaking humid. People are sweating. People are working hard. You keep walking until you reach the middle of the warehouse. There's 5 or 7 desks. One of them on the edge is empty. It's your desk. Middle of the warehouse, facing the outbound area where everybody packs and ships, and all the dock doors right in front of you. Like, okay, cool, this is different. I come from a world where I had an office, We had a warehouse attached to the office, but I had an office. It was nice, it was big. I had seating for 3 people on my team if they wanted to come in and talk to me. So this is very different than what I'm used to. Walking out to a middle of the warehouse, sitting on a desk in hot, humid, middle of summer warehouse. So I get to the desk, I take out my laptop, set it down, open it up, log in. Okay, I wonder what's gonna happen now. 30 seconds pass. Greg walks by, my boss. All right, Farzad, looks like you're settled in. Walk with me. Great. All right, let's go get a tour, right? Let's go get a tour of the warehouse. We're walking through a couple areas. We see the outbound area, we see the inbound area. We see the inventory control area. Again, everybody working hard, sweating, you could see them. Greg's greeting everybody as he's walking by. Hey, what's going on, Joe? What's going on, Dave? What's going on? Whoever. And all these people, I'm good, Greg, how you doing? I'm doing great. Keep up the good work. Then we get to an area of the outbound floor where there seems to be some difficulties around getting parts out. Greg goes, okay, Farzad, so here we're having an issue with trying to move product out the door quickly. Seems like we have a bottleneck. I'll be back in about 2 hours. Let me know what you find. Okay, all right. It hasn't been 5 minutes. It hasn't been 5 minutes since I joined that company. And they're already trusting me to do work for them. But not only that, in those 5 minutes, I got to meet a few of the material handlers who are folks that you would typically think as blue collar. If you're not familiar with that term, it's basically folks that work with their hands or do physical labor to get something done. And I also met some what you call white collar folks, which are the folks that are also typically labeled as working in an office environment or working on a computer, right? Just doing technical stuff or computer stuff. I met 10 of them in a span of a few seconds, just walking through that warehouse. And then within 5 minutes, I'm entrusted to fix something already. That's pretty weird, right? At least I thought so, from the background that I come from. Again, I had an office, I had a great job, awesome mentors, but it was very what you call typical, corporate America in a way. There weren't really any shared experiences between the folks in the office and the folks out in the warehouse. They were kind of kept separate. So when I got to Tesla and I got to experience that, especially at this building that was just being built, this thing was just being built. It was I think 4 months into the ramp up of that building. Everything was one. Everything was one. And it didn't take that long for me to realize that the genius behind a lot of the things that Tesla does, it's how they bring everybody together. It's that inclusive nature of how the company is built. That line between a blue-collar worker or a person that does a lot of hard work with their hands and a white-collar worker who's typically behind a computer solving problems, those lines do not really exist. It's everybody getting together to figure out how to solve a problem. But I'll be honest, it took me a little while to adjust for a couple of reasons. One, those desks that I was talking about, nobody was sitting at them. They were all standing. They're all standing. And I'm like, okay, so I'm from an office, from an office background. I have a very nice chair, it's comfortable. I got a nice desk, comfortable. Now I'm in the middle of a hot warehouse, standing, okay? And I'm expected to wear steel toe shoes for the first time. I've never worn steel toe shoes before in my life. And I gotta tell you, it takes a little bit to get used to them. My pinky toe on my right foot hurt for like a month. I probably bought the wrong kind of shoe. That in itself, that adjustment period from going from sitting at a desk and solving problems through a computer to being in the middle of the warehouse, standing for 12 hours at a time in hot weather, solving way harder problems, was such an incredible, weird adjustment for me. But the magic came when I was able to see everything from one spot. And what I mean by that is all I had to do was look forward, left, or right, and I immediately saw what needed to be solved. Or if I had some sort of question about a solution I'm trying to solve or a problem that's coming up, all I do is just walk to the thing. Just like 5 seconds, I walk to the thing. And then what happens at that point? There's obviously somebody working that area. I go, hey, Brian, my data is saying that there's something going on with, we're falling behind in this area and I can't really figure out why. What's going on? And then Brian will be like, okay, well, check this out. We have an overhead compartment in the racks that doesn't have inventory, and all the inventory seems to be in a different location that needs to be accessed by a different type of equipment. A forklift won't get to it. Like, okay, well, that makes sense. Looking at data behind a computer, you'll never know what the hell's going on, okay? And in a typical environment, what you have to do is take that information, right, of, hey, something's not working. You shoot off an email to a person, and then the person has to take time out of their incredibly busy day to say, hey, there's a problem with the overhead compartment. There's no inventory there. It's a different equipment type. It's in this area. That's the problem. More often than not, that kind of information is not always really taken for what it's worth at the first time. There's usually some back and forth, right? Now you're probably on day 3 of trying to solve a relatively minor issue. Whereas the way Tesla has constructed their operations, at least at the building that I was working at, everything was accessible immediately. And that allows everybody to solve the solutions as quickly as humanly possible. And once it clicked for me that being out in that warehouse, everybody being in that warehouse is not just a measure of like, oh, look at how strong I am, but it's actually a way to solve problems. It changed my perception on how to get things done forever. And honestly, this might sound weird, but I take a lot of inspiration in that. Okay, so think about all the issues we're having right now as a society. The division that's happening, not just in the United States where I'm from, but really in the world with this COVID craziness and the political craziness and everything, so much division. And then I think about my time at Tesla and really the things that we achieved there for the 4 years that I was there. It was just bringing people together from all walks of life. And I not only got to understand what it means to work with people in a difficult environment, where we're trying to solve hard problems, but I also got to meet people that I would have never met in my life unless I was standing at that desk for 12 hours a day for 4 years. That would have never happened. For some reason, our society, white collar and blue collar, they don't really play together for some reason. And if you've experienced something similar or different, please drop it in the comments because I'd love to hear from you as well. But for me, it seemed like such a cool, unique, human experience. So human. People I would have never talked to. I get to learn so much about their upbringing, where they're from, the things they like. And I'm like, holy crap, I literally have something in common with everybody in this warehouse, with every single person in that warehouse. At least one thing in common, something that I'm very passionate about and that person's passionate about as well. That would have never happened unless I was standing at that desk. And as long as Tesla continues this culture, this thought process behind, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what you believe. If you're there and you care about the mission, work with anybody. Come together, let's work on something. And I think that speaks for way more than just building an electric car or picking a product from a rack. It's about bringing people together for a common purpose. And that's one thing Tesla has done amazingly well since they've launched. They've brought everybody together around this mission of electric vehicles have to be the future because we need to go towards a sustainable future. But the way Tesla functions, there's a lot of parallels to be drawn from that too. And for me, honestly, it's inspired me beyond belief. And it's something that I will always cherish and always take with me everywhere I go. That it doesn't matter who I'm working with or who I'm talking with, that person is an equal to me. And if we work together on something, we're gonna do really freaking well. And we're gonna get stuff done. And we're gonna get to know each other while we do that as well. Or we're just gonna get to know each other. It doesn't even have to be about work. It's about just coming together and sharing a common experience. I don't think that gets talked about enough when it comes to Tesla. I think that humanity aspect of the company and the way that company functions from that perspective is completely lost on a lot of folks. But it's not on purpose. Maybe people don't know enough about it, or it hasn't been brought to light enough. But that's something that's very, very important, especially nowadays in a day of division and confusion and people hating on other groups or not wanting to be with other groups. I've experienced from my time at Tesla is that Tesla does exactly the opposite. They bring people together for a common purpose. And if you think about it, it's not just internally, but it's also externally. Look at all the fans. I've been following Tesla since 2012, 2013. I worked for them for 4 years and I still can't shut up about the damn company. Something's wrong with me, right? Something's wrong with me. Or the mission's just inspiring. Or the things that they're doing struck a chord with people and they inspire. The way Tesla blurs the line of white collar and blue collar are probably, arguably, its biggest strength. And as long as they continue to do that for the foreseeable future, they will win. They will never lose. They have a guaranteed victory. We're all people, we're all the same. We come from the same place, we all live in the same place, and we should treat each other as that. If you've ever experienced anything like this, as I have, please drop it in the comments below. Let us know where you experienced that. I think that needs to be known, where folks are brought together in a workplace from all walks of life and are able to solve problems together. I think that's so important. If you've never experienced this, drop a comment as well. I would love to hear your story about, okay, so what happened in that situation that they couldn't come together? Was it politics? Was it the way the offices were structured? Was it just impossible to get people together? I'm curious to hear about that as well. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching this video. If you like what you saw, throw me a like. If you want to see more stuff from me, click subscribe. And if you want to support me on Patreon, I have a link for that below. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.